Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bear and Can Cook. And on this episode, we're going to start off with a little story time. I find it weird how the world works and just kind of a confluence of events happens randomly. So 2 days ago, I'm listening to a podcast. A very famous, successful chef, Dave Chang. Some people may know the name. And they did a deep dive on chicken soup. And ever since then, I thought, I feel like making chicken soup. I feel like that'd be a good video to make. That's a great soup to make. Really, any time of the year. It's pretty simple. It's a good skill to have. Being able to make a good chicken soup. So I kick it around for a day or two. Yesterday, my wife comes home and says, "My mother has COVID again." And I said, "Oh my God, that's just awful." About an hour later, I get a phone call from my mother-in-law that says, "Will you make me chicken and rice soup?" Of course I will. Let's go. So here we are. Let's make chicken soup. What do you think? Do I look like I know what I'm doing? So I went and I bought about a 6-pound chicken. And what we're going to do is we're going to put chicken in a pot. We're going to cover it with water. We're going to bring it up to a simmer. We're just going to let it simmer for about 45 minutes. 50 minutes, somewhere in that neighborhood. And then we're going to take it out. And we're going to let it drain and cool until it's cool enough to handle. While it's cooling, we're going to cut up our veg, our mirepoix, our fancy French word for celery, onions, and carrots. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And then we'll add our veg to our stock, let that simmer for a little while, and then we will pick the chicken, add the chicken, and then finish with the long grain wild rice. And that will be our soup. So that's the direction we're headed. So that being said, here's my chicken. We're just going to pick him up, drop him in the pot. Rest side up is fine, however you want to do it. It doesn't matter. Okay, so we get the water in the pot. We want to cover the chicken about by an inch. We want the water to come about an inch above the chicken. We're going to turn this on about medium. And like I said, we're just going to let it come up to a simmer. Once it gets to simmer, we're going to let it go for about 45-50 minutes. And then we'll go from there. In the meantime, let me clean my board and we will chop some veg. Okay, so we're going to work on mirepoix. Mirepoix is a French term for diced onion, carrots, and celery. Proportions are 2-to-1 onions to 1 part carrot, 1 part celery. So, in case you want that kind of information, you got it. So, there's that. Let's work on the veg for a second. Okay, got my onions peeled. I'd like to go across the center here. Move our onions off to the side. Celery, and I buy celery hearts. I like the little leaves in the center. I think they've got great flavor. This stuff we're not going to be real particular with. We'll just take it like this. That's good for celery. Some fell on the floor. We're not going to use that stuff. Okay, now carrots. We just run our knives through it. I'll just run my knife through it as long as they're, the size of a nickel. But once they get a little bigger than that, towards the end, I like to lop it off, cut it down the center, and then we just do half moons. The general rule is everything should fit on a spoon. And that is mirepoix. Okay, so I wanted to take a minute and talk a little bit about this particular method. There are a lot of ways to make chicken soup, and a lot of the times they will tell you you need to break down the chicken and roast the bones, and then use roasted bones to make a stock, and then cook the meat separately, and certainly, classically, a French cook, that's probably what they would do. I personally find one of the more satisfying things about chicken soup is it needs some fat. And you get that fat from skin and joints. And that's what you get when you slowly poach chicken. It leaches out a lot of the collagen and the fat from the skin. It leaves you with really, really silky broth. It's really delicious, super flavorful. I personally think it's the best way to make a chicken soup. So we're going to do this particular method, and then, like I said, we're going to drain it. We're going to set it up in a bowl. We're going to drain it. We're going to cut it where the thighs, where the leg splits on both sides. It has a tendency to kind of trap water in there, and we want to get all that goodness out. So we're going to drain it really good, and then all the juices that drain out of it are going back in to the soup. Should be delicious. Okay, guys, we've reached a simmer. This is what a simmer looks like. We're going to go through and we'll just take a spoon and kind of pull some of the white bubbles around the edge. Those are just kind of impurities. We kind of want to get rid of that stuff, so we'll go through and just skim that stuff off. All right, so it's been about 45 minutes and the chicken's out. Just going to sit here in this bowl and drain for a little bit. I've got the remaining stock back in the bowl. What we want to do now is we're going to take some of our mirepoix and put it back in the pot and let it start simmering. I've got probably more than I need, so we're just going to kind of eyeball how much of everything we're putting in. Probably good. Now we want to add some aromatics as well. That's going to be in the way of, let's say, 2 bay leaves. Then I've got some thyme. We're going to make a little bundle of thyme. I'm just going to take this guy right here. We're just going to tie him up. Tie this little guy up and throw him in. And I think the thyme is just left on my board. Just kind of chop it up. Throw it in. All right, now we're just going to let the chicken cool for a little bit, and then once the chicken's cool, we're going to pick it. And we're only going to use the dark meat. Dark meat just has more flavor. It doesn't overcook. It doesn't shred. The longer the soup sets, breast meat, white meat will shred as it's in there longer. You can dice it, cut it up in squares, and it's still just going to fall apart the longer it's in there. Dark meat holds up better. So we're going to use the dark meat out off this chicken, and then I'm going to use the white meat for something else, and maybe I'll show you what to do. All right, guys, welcome back. We've got our mirepoix is in a pot. Pot's coming back up to a simmer. Got our chicken right here. We're going to take the leg and thigh quarters off the chicken. I thought I would show you how to do this. So right here, when you look at, there's a cavity right here between the leg and the breast. And if you just cut, it just opens right up. We want to do that on both sides. Just opens up. And what we want to do is take our chicken, turn him over, and you can just pop this joint right here. And take it right off. We'll do the same thing on this side. Take it and pop it open. You can see the joint. And take that right off. And the rest of this we will save for other deliciousness. Okay, guys, so we've got our leg and thigh quarters here. Take the skin off. That no longer serves a purpose. And then just pull the meat off of it. Doesn't have to be pretty. We're going to chop it up anyway. We're just going to take our chicken and just kind of rough chop it. We just don't want to have any big, huge pieces in our soup. Okay, now we're going to take our chicken, go into our soup. And that's that. And wash those chickeny hands. All right, guys, we're on the home stretch. So soup is simmering, veg is cooked, chicken's in. I cleaned up my board, I cleaned up my space. What we're going to add, let's taste it for seasoning first. We haven't added salt anywhere along the line, so we want to taste for seasoning now. Gonna need a little salt. And we'll hit with some pepper. Boom. Give that a stir. Okay, now we're gonna add our rice. This is a long grain and wild rice with some herbs and seasonings. I kind of cheated. I'm not gonna give you I bought it. I'm not going to give you the name brand, but it comes in a pouch and takes about 90 seconds to cook. So we're going to add our rice to it. Give it a stir. We want to fish the bay leaves out. 1. There's our other bay leaf. By the way, it's supposed to be a sign of good luck. If you go to a restaurant and you find a bay leaf in your soup, it means somebody's really cooking in the kitchen. They're not just taking soup out of a bag. So, there you go. Chicken and rice. Coming to you, Grandma. So there you go, guys. A little deep dive on chicken and rice soup, or just chicken soup in general. Hope you learned something. If you've got any questions or comments, just drop them below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I got this video, and I got another one I'm going to make, and then I've got chicken breast from leftover from this, and I may show you what to do with that. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. Good luck to you. We'll talk soon.